This next way of solving quadratics is a bit abstract, and by abstract I mean you're going to use some math rules and a combination of things that you haven't done before. We can solve quadratics by completing the square. That means we're going to have a polynomial equal to something. A polynomial means ax squared plus bx plus c equals to a number. I'll put 0 just to start out. And sometimes whenever we're doing our factoring chart, it's just really easy, it's really hard, the opposite of easy. It's going to be really hard to find out what these numbers are. They're just difficult. And so we have another option. That other option, if these two numbers are too hard to get, is we can complete the square. That means we're going to change that polynomial, we're going to change this to be something like we're going to change it so that we have some good factors. Oh, there's an extra square in there. We're going to have x plus something. This is just some number. And then those are inside of parentheses being squared. And then on the outside, we're going to have some constant. Which is just another number. So our goal is to change a polynomial to be so that we have two numbers in parentheses, well, x in a number in a parentheses, and that's being squared, plus another random number, and then we're going to solve it from there, like I taught you solving with the square roots. So let's do one example now. X squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. And how we do this is we separate some things. The x squared term and the x term, you're going to put those in a parentheses and leave a space after the x, the regular x. The minus 21 can stay outside the parentheses, and we're still going to have equals 0. So we left a blank inside the parentheses. We're also going to leave another blank outside the parentheses. We're going to do some things, which means we're going to add something inside the parentheses, and we're going to subtract something outside the parentheses. We're going to pull some numbers out of nowhere, and these numbers are going to make things nice and pretty. The number that we're going to pull out is we're going to take this number 4, this negative 4, and we're going to do half of it. So negative 4 over 2 is equal to negative 2. And then we're going to take that number, and we're going to square it, and we're going to put that up there in that blank. So we're going to take half of negative 4 squared, and that's what's going to go in that blank. So that's x squared minus 4x. I'm copying down what I have above. And then negative 2 squared is 4. That's in a parentheses. And then if I put a plus 4, this plus 4, I just invented that. I made it come out of nowhere. So if I added 4 out of nowhere, I also need to cancel it out by subtracting 4 outside of the parentheses. And I'm going to bring that minus 21 down also. What's in this parentheses now can be factored pretty easily. I'll show you the x method, and I'll actually make another video about how to factor this really quickly because there's a pattern to it. But if we use the x method, it would be a 4 on top, negative 4 on the bottom, and the factors are going to be minus 2 and minus 2. So we have x minus 2, x minus 2, and on the outside of this parentheses we have a minus 4 and a minus 21. Together they make a minus 25. Those are equal to 0 still. We have x minus 2 times x minus 2. Since these are the same factor, it's the same factor multiplied by itself, we abbreviate that to be x minus 2 squared minus 25 equals 0. We're going to move the 25 to the other side. X minus 2 squared equals 25. It was a negative 25. I moved it to the other side of the equal sign. Now it's a positive 25. We're going to solve it like you did in yesterday's lesson, which is to square root both sides. Square root, square root. Now we have x minus 2 equals the square root of 25, and the square root of 25 is plus or minus 5. So that means we have to solve this two ways. X minus 2 equals positive 5, and then we have the other option, which is the negative option, x minus 2 equals negative 5. So we'll solve this for x equals 7, x equals negative 7. Nope, negative 3. So our two solutions are x equals negative 3 or x is equal to 7. If I plug either one of these numbers, if I plug these in to the top, so I'll just write it. When these two x's are plugged in to x squared minus 4x minus 21, we get 0.